Okay, now we're going to talk about editing a track that you have already created. Um, if you just watched the video on track creation, here's a yellow track that I created just a moment ago called Zero Chaco Shal 4. Um, in the last few seconds, I've been adjusting the imagery. I'm now looking at November 2011, and it looks like there's actually a little bit of a spoil bank here that maybe some barge or something ran aground and pushed that in, and that's not too far below the surface. Probably not my best path into that area. It looks like maybe over here. Really, the best path would be right here. So I want to edit the route that I just created. So because I just created it, it's still highlighted on the left, Zero Chocolate Shell 4. I'm going to right click on that and click Properties, and you see the same window as when you were creating the track to begin with. Um, so if you click on one of the points of your track, it turns green. Once it turns green, you can move it wherever you want. Um, Wherever that point is, you can move it to the end. If you click at the one at the end and then click somewhere else, it adds a point. Um, you can hit the delete key and delete the point you just added. One interesting thing, if you click on the beginning point of your track and you want to extend it out into the channel, it's not going to work. What it's actually doing is it tried to create a track between, a point between these two. Um, so if that's something you actually wanted to do, you could create that new one, move it back near the beginning point, and then trade places. And then let's say you wanted to come out here and follow some feature and then add different points in between. Um, you could add those, but if you're looking at the beginning of the track and you want to extend it, that's just a little workaround that you have to do. Um, um, don't have to worry about that. At the end of your track, you just add tracks and you can delete them if you've added ones that you don't want. So that's the basics of editing. Now to do something useful on my track, I actually want this point of entrance to be right here and in, and then it opens up like that. And it's going to be a fairly narrow entrance right about there. And I don't want to click here because it's adding it to the end. I'll hit delete. Instead, I want to click on the most recent point before that within the track, this point. Now I can create a track point out here, come around, and now I've got a little path going into there. And then of course I can go in and clean it up. If I zoom out here, this 2011 image, you can see there's a lot of cloudiness. That actually was probably fish feeding or some other disturbance on the bottom. Most likely fish, and the outgoing tide was kind of sweeping that along there. But that's the basics of editing your tracks. Um, if you do something that you click on the map thinking you want to drag and do something like that, no worry, you just hit the delete key a bunch of times and then you come back to where everything was okay. Once you're happy, click OK and your track is saved. The other thing when editing is if you want to edit something but you're not sure which track it is. Let's see, I want to edit this green line. When you're moving around the map, normally you just have that little hand. If you click on one of your tracks, it changed over here on the left. It's now highlighted the Zero Chaco open. Right click Properties. I can go in and edit that one if I want. Click OK. Well, that's the basics of editing.